and welcome to Doing Marketing Differently. I'm Kathleen Celmins. I am the CEO and co-founder of Amplified Now, a video-first content marketing agency that helps experts and entrepreneurs get out of their own way with content marketing. With me today, I have Isabel. Would you like to introduce yourself and your business?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Isabel and I'm a travel blogger and an SEO coach. And right now roaming the world at Whim as a digital nomad. So right now I'm currently in Colombia, Medellin.
Oh, how is it there?
It's really nice. It's warm. It's really vibrant. Everything's almost back to normal. And yeah, and there's quite a huge digital nomad scene. So it's nice to be able to talk to people who get it, and not just work in corporate jobs.
How fun. How long have you been there?
I'm coming up to a month. And before that, I was in Mexico for 5 months. So really just taking it slow, one day at a time.
Cool. How long do you think you'll be there?
So I'm in Medellin for a month, and next month I'm actually going around Colombia to travel, basically, do what I do.
That is so cool. Tell me how you got started.
Yeah, so it really was born out of my love for travel and journaling. So when I went through my records, I actually started blogging in 2002 when I was still a little student. And yeah, mostly it was mostly my personal journal at that time. And so I've been in the blogging space for over 10, like almost 10 years, I would say. And it was only in 2015 that I decided to really get serious with blogging. And because I enjoy traveling so much, I wanted an outlet to share my travel journeys and document my pictures and all that. And so my blog, Bell Around the World, was born.
Great. We'll link to that too in the comments below. It is a beautiful site. It made me sad that I was inside my house. Just even looking at it, I was like, oh, travel.
Yeah, it's been nice. Because of it, I've been able to travel much more. In fact, like I used to just travel on the school holidays and when I was working during vacation. So in Singapore, at least where I come from, we only have 14 days of annual leave each year, and so each opportunity to travel was very precious, and which is what led me to pursue travel blogging full time as well, and really just expand on my pursuits.
So tell me, what came first, SEO or travel blogging?
Definitely travel blogging. So I first started out as a writer. I used to write freelance for different magazines and publications, both print and digital. And then it was through travel blogging, I was experimenting different ways to grow my traffic, grow my presence. So I was on all social media platforms and I was writing a whole chunk of different topics and experimenting different headlines, that sort of thing. And finally, I found what ticked for me, which was SEO, and I really, really like it much more than any other social media platform because of how I feel like it's the most effective way to grow traffic without having to constantly put in time and effort. And because I really like to have an efficient time, like to do as much as I can with as little time as I need so that I can spend the rest of the time like traveling or doing what I want.
So tell me how much of your traffic now is from search engines.
Well, I would say the majority of it, maybe like three-quarters or two-thirds of it is from organic. And
That's great.
I spend really little time on social media. So that's why I like to really focus on getting my SEO presence up there.
Now, I can hear like the objection. Like, yeah, sure. Anybody who's been doing this as long as you have has a great deal of content, has a high pay domain authority, has like all the stuff that like people who would just be starting out now would say, yeah, but you've done it forever. Do you think that there's a way that people who are starting out now can maximize their chances of getting their content to show up in page 1 or 2 of search results.
Yeah, for sure. I agree that it's getting more and more saturated, especially after the pandemic. Everyone's just pivoted online. But in my experience, even with my students who have just started their blogs or their businesses, I like to tell them to really focus on long tail keywords, or rather really specific keywords that are related to their business or their industry, and really just focus on building a content library around.
That's awesome. So do you have any overarching, I know you work with people one-on-one, and we'll link to your services in this transcript and in YouTube as well, but do you have any top level advice for someone who has content and isn't optimizing? And do you have any advice for somebody who's got a business blog that they're not really getting enough traffic from, or any traffic from Google from?
Yeah, the first thing I always tell them is to consistently try and put up content, which I know it can be difficult, but as much as possible, try and sit down at one time, brainstorm all the different topics that are related to that business or the industry or that niche, and try and come up with topics for that, followed by going to research those keywords, because there is no point if no one's searching for those keywords. And so these would be the two main foundations, I would say, to really step up on the content game. And then it doesn't have to be like an article a week. If possible, if you can do that, that'd be great. But if you don't, then you have to look for other ways to really increase your brand awareness and have other people associate you with that brand, or with you being an expert in candle making or in jewelry. So what I usually tell them is to reach out, to do outreach, to guest post, to appear on podcasts, to really amplify or really try and get out there and associate yourself with the expert topics that you are talking about.
Those are really good pieces of advice. Unfortunately, they don't sound like shortcuts or hacks or tricks.
Yeah, it really does take time.
Yeah, I believe that too. Content is the long game, right? Outreach will help you, if you're writing content and you can write it on a big publication, or if you can get a publication to syndicate you, great. But you got to give it 6-8 months to see if your stuff is connecting. If somebody does have a pile of content and doesn't really know where to begin, where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, so my website is bellaroundtheworld.com, and I do have a free SEO course that I'm offering at the moment. So there is a button on my homepage that you could just click and connect. And I'm also on all social media platforms, so you can easily DM me on Instagram or on Facebook if you like.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Isabel. And like I said, we'll link to all that in the notes
Sure.
below. And if somebody has any questions about getting started with SEO, I feel like a free SEO course is the way to begin.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
See ya.